Review panel. Pretty mad over in Port Adelaide at the present time. Their fall from grace has been quite extreme. At one stage they were 12-2. They've lost 4 of their last 5 games. But it seems not that long ago that we're all singing their praises.
They were a basket case at the start of the 2013 season.
I think everyone.
We love watching them play.
Everyone had them dead and buried. We're looking at the membership climb here. From 29 just 4 years ago to 49. That's exceptional.
I mean, they've gone from they're 14th to 1st in 30 games of football.
How far do you think they go?
They go as far as they believe they can, which I think is all the way. They're in it. There's no doubt they're in it. They were playing a great team on their home patch.
And they could have won.
And you know what they did do? They won the 4th term again. They believe they will run over anyone.
Yeah. You were talking there, Jason, following the Sydney loss. They play Sydney on the weekend. I thought there were some signs for them to turn it around, but they're miles off their best. Some of the headlines that we've been part of and have been written about them, they are all about premiership threats and all about playing in the last couple of weeks in September.
Has your enthusiasm waned?
Oh, absolutely it has. And I was just about to say, that comment I made, I don't think they believe anymore. And you can see it in the way the players are going about their business. That frenetic pace that what they were playing with, that unabandoned run that just came from everywhere, is gone. On top of that, couple that with poor execution, and this is a side that's a shadow of what we saw over the first 12 or 13 weeks.
One other factor I want to ask you about that. They lauded the fact and they boasted about how good they were in tight finishes because they were fitter than anyone else. They've lost that edge.
Collingwood ran over them.
Yep, they did.
Yesterday. That was the impressive thing about Collingwood. I don't think Collingwood played great, but they were harder, more desperate, and they ran.
Let's take to them. Let's take a look at Port's final month on the run home, because it's not going to be an easy one, quite clearly, Jason. The Swans and the Gold Coast, they're competing for spots in the 8. Then the Blues, and they can beat anybody at the moment, the Blues, and then a major challenge in round 23.
There's no gimme games there, are there? I mean, Carlton are playing reasonable football, so whilst you might think that's the one they're most favoured to win, there are absolutely no gimme games.
On the form that they're in, I think that they are not entitled to expect to win more than 2 of those. They should be happy winning 2 of those.
Which is the second win they're going to get? Maybe Gold Coast up at Metricon.
Maybe, yeah.
Because you couldn't tip them to beat Sydney, and you couldn't tip them to beat
Freo in Perth. Yeah.
I think their great chance is that they had a week off. They believe they're a little bit tired. I saw some signs after half-time. They fumbled badly in the first quarter, and I think maybe they, after the week off, they needed to get their heads right. I think we saw it with Collingwood the previous week, but if they continue to fumble the way they did on the weekend, Sydney are going to beat them up.
Well, we saw some extraordinary stuff. I mean, that's an uncontested mark. And
he was as good as they had, too.
Correct. He played a fantastic first half of the season, but a lot of his kicks started to miss the target. When it was in tight, when there was pressure on, this is where Collingwood was so good. They forced them into fumbling. They forced them into rushing disposals, and they didn't know what to do with the footy when they did get it. I
loved the Ken Hinkley mantra, handle the heat.
Yep.
And they have handled the heat for the best part of a season and 3 quarters. Right now, they're not handling the heat. Half-time, I'm not sure what was said, but they went in and they did come out a different unit. But they've got one trick, it seems, Mike, and that is get the ball in the back line, pass it into the corridor, and it looks like everybody's worked out that trick.
Yeah,
and
I know you're saying that. My question is whether strategy or execution. Now, they take risks, but they've taken risks early in the season. It's the execution of the last skill that's letting them down, in my view.
Well, I think it's a combination of both, but even the ones they're trying to run to are more static targets, where in the first half of the season, they were players streaming into space, so there was a little bit more margin for error. You could put the kick out in front of them, but they're kicking largely to static targets, and it's just not working.
And too high, and I just wonder if they've lost their confidence in their ability to find the bloke up the field.
I have no doubt the confidence has waned, and I think Ken Hinkley would be desperate to rediscover that formula they had in the first half.
But they did rediscover it. The third quarter, some of their passages of play were as good as that they'd shown in the first 12 weeks when they were up and about. Their change of handball was enormous. This is the Port Adelaide vision they should be showing all this week.
Yeah, but, Gerard, the difference is this was the exception to the rule on the weekend. This was what they were doing all game for the first half of the season.
But Westhoff had his best quarter for a long time.
Hartlett kicked 3.
Hartlett was absolutely on fire. They need a few to jump on board. Chad Wingard was unstoppable last year. I mean, seriously, for a second-year player, one of the great second-year seasons.
He's nearly lucky to stay in the team, isn't he?
He would be on the board at the moment.
The one alibi that they've got is their best player this year, I think, is Robbie Gray, and he wasn't well, was he?
No, he was struck down by a virus, obviously, because he could barely get near it. The work rate wasn't there, and certainly his effectiveness wasn't there.